Hi guys, this is Caleb Perry with Doc365, and today I'm going to be talking about crawling in SharePoint Online. Let's go ahead and get right into it and talk about what crawling actually is. And crawling is a process where SharePoint will send a crawler out to check out all of your content and see if anything has been changed. So if you change a few letters in a Word document, or if you update the title, things like that, that's what the crawler is looking for. If it finds anything that's been changed, it'll add it to the search index, so it will show up in your search results, which means in order for new content to become searchable, you do need to wait for that crawl to finish, or you can manually request a crawl or re-indexing. And real quickly, I want to talk about some of the differences in crawling in SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-Prem. The main differences are just that SharePoint Online doesn't have much options in terms of managing crawling, whereas SharePoint On-Prem has the ability to set things like priority and how often things should be crawled. In SharePoint Online, it's a bit different. You're not able to change any of that. So SharePoint Online targets between having your changed content be available in search results within about 15 minutes to an hour. It is possible for it to take longer than that, but typically that's about the time range you're going to be looking at before any new content is able to appear in your search results. And real quickly, I want to touch a little bit on what the search index itself is. I won't be going very deep into this because that's more its own video. Essentially, the search index is what contains all of the searchable content within your site. It is made up of managed properties, which is just the types of content and metadata that are useful to your users and useful to be searched for. You know, things like the author of a document or the title, and also maybe some of the content within documents you'd want to be searched as well. And then the crawler will use crawled properties to decide what content and metadata should be extracted. So the crawler will use everything that's defined as a crawled property and extract all of that, whereas the search index is made up of only managed properties. So in order for a new managed property to actually start appearing in the search index, you have to map that managed property to a crawled property. So if you add some new property for the author or the title, that would need to be mapped to a respective crawled property for that to start actually appearing in the search index. So let's go ahead and move on and talk about when you should manually crawl or re-index your site. Basically, you want to try to avoid manually crawling or re-indexing because of how large of a load it can take, or how large of a load it can cause on your site, because when you manually request a crawl or a re-indexing, it marks all of the content within that library or within the entire site as changed. So the crawler will go through and pick everything up. So if you have a lot of content in a library or on your site or in a list, so it's best to try to avoid that unless you are making a change that requires a manual crawl. One of these things, for example, is adding or updating a managed property. So say you wanted to add or change a managed property for a list. This would not get picked up by the crawler automatically, because that is a change to your site's search schema rather than the entire site itself. So in order for that to be picked up, you would need to manually re-index that list. And on that, let's start talking about how to manually re-index. For a site, you would select the settings, select site settings, go into the search and offline availability settings, and then you would click the re-index site option. And then there would be an additional confirmation. And I can go ahead and show you guys how to go in and do that really quick. So here is our demo site. Real quick, I'll show how to re-index the entire site first. So we go into site information, view all site settings, and then under search, we go into search and offline availability. And then right under here, we can mark this site for reindexing. So during the next scheduled crawl, the entire site would be reindexed. So any changes to any of the managed properties or any of the content that's changed in this site, this would all get picked up by the crawler in the next crawl. So we would click that, and then if we wanted to reindex, we would click this. I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I don't want to mess up our demo site. I'm not sure how much content is on here exactly, so it might not be the best idea. So that's how you do it for an entire site. So if you were, however, wanting to reindex just a document library, here's one that we have right here. So when you're in the library, you can go ahead and click the gear in the top right, click library settings, and then you're going to want to go to advanced settings. And then once you're here, you're going to want to scroll down a little bit until you get to the reindex document library option. And then you're going to want to do the same thing. You're going to want to click the reindex document library button, and then you'd want to click this button again to confirm that you'd want to reindex the document library. And this will also pick up any changed properties or any changed content within this library in the next scheduled crawl. We're going to go ahead and close out of that. And I believe that is everything there is to know about crawling within SharePoint Online. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.